Maybe I don't have a shield.
What?
Yeah, I don't have a shield.
Oh, it's right by the radiator.
The myth of the astronaut who never messes up is false. Today we'll see that even astronauts screw up big time every now and then. I've selected the 10 most incredible mistakes. We are used to seeing them as superheroes, cold, calculating, flawless. People who don't even blink while riding bombs loaded with thousands of tons of explosives. But guess what? Underneath those spacesuits, they are just human beings. And human beings make mistakes. Sometimes huge ones. From number 10 down to 1, hold on tight. Number 10. Imagine being 250 miles up on the International Space Station and wanting to call home. That's exactly what Dutch astronaut André Kuipers wanted to do in 2012. On the space station, they have a phone interface to call any number on Earth. To get an outside line, he had to press 9, and for an international call, 011, which is the US international prefix, like 00 in Europe. But in zero gravity, he missed the 0, and he dialed 911, which is basically the American emergency number, like 112 in Europe. Down in Houston, a red alert went off. The Space Center's local police burst into the communication room, thinking there was an emergency on ground. Then they realized the call came from space and there was no problem there, and the alarm was called off. Kuipers got an email the next day. André, did you call emergency services? A trivial mistake, but made from space. Number 9. For anyone who makes videos, the story of this incident hurts the soul. In 2018, astronaut Drew Feustel steps out for a delicate spacewalk. He grabs a GoPro to film the outside of the station, hits the red button, and nothing happens.
Yeah, I pushing the button, I see a no SD. Does that mean, do I need that to record?
The SD card, the memory card needed to record the video, hadn't been inserted. Dead silence from Houston. After a moment of pure embarrassment, Mission Control had to tell him the sad truth. It means there's no memory card inside. So yeah, you can just put it away.
And if it says no SD, what does that mean? Can you tell me into my
I think that means no card. We'll check it though. Hang on.
Well, we could put this one back in the bag then, I guess. Why don't you take
That sounds like a good plan.
A mistake we all make on vacation, except he was floating in the vacuum of space at 17,000 miles per hour and couldn't exactly just pop back inside to grab it. Position number 8. In 1965, astronaut John Young was preparing for the launch of the Gemini 3 mission alongside his crewmate Gus Grissom. On the suggestion of astronaut Walter Schirra, a known prankster, he hid a corned beef sandwich in his spacesuit that was bought at a deli 2 days before launch. He wanted to play a practical joke on his colleague Gus Grissom. He pulled the sandwich out in orbit. Gemini was a very tiny two-seater capsule, and there is a reason why bread is banned in space. Crumbs started flying everywhere, threatening to get into the electrical panels and cause a fatal short circuit. Right then and there, they panicked and quickly put the sandwich away. However, once back on Earth, NASA was absolutely furious. And Congress even opened a formal investigation into the so-called Sandwich Gate, and Young received a severe reprimand. Number 7. A few years after that Gemini flight, John Young arrived on the Moon with Apollo 16 and did some significantly more expensive damage. He was walking on the lunar surface to set up the heat flow experiment, a vital instrument used to measure the heat and temperature gradients of the Moon. While unspooling the long braided cable, he didn't notice that the cable had gotten caught right under his dust-covered space boot. He took a quick step forward and the cable snapped clean off. A $3 million experiment destroyed just by tripping over it. In the tone of his voice, you can hear the absolute disappointment and resignation from both him and Mission Control.
Something happened here. What happened? I don't know. Here's a line that pulled loose. Uh-oh. What is that?
Position number 6. Destroying an experiment is bad, but ruining the media event of the decade in just 45 seconds is another story altogether. Apollo 12, Albin steps onto the moon, bringing with him, for the very first time, a color TV camera. Millions of people on Earth are glued to their TVs. Bean unhooks the camera, turns around to set it up, and inadvertently points it straight at the sun. The sensor burns out instantly. This was actually one of the most important warnings they received during training: never point it at the sun. Houston loses the signal and the global screen goes pitch black. Bean even tries hitting it with a hammer to get it working again, but nothing. End of the worldwide live broadcast, all because of a bad angle. However, Apollo 12 did bring back beautiful images, both in photos and in 16mm film footage, just not live. Position number 5.
Maybe I don't have a shield.
What?
If you lose a screwdriver in your garage, you get mad. But if you lose it in space, it risks becoming a wandering orbital projectile. In 2017, during an extravehicular activity outside the International Space Station, the astronaut duo Peggy Whitson and Shane Kimbrough let a piece of anti-micrometeoroid shielding they were supposed to install slip away. They just hopelessly looked at it while it was drifting away from space station.
Oh, it's right by the radiator. Maybe a half a foot a second and...
Fun fact, instead of the protection, they installed another recycled cover, so to speak, since they had removed it shortly before from another location. Letting tools slip out of hand has happened other times on the ISS. For example, in 2008,
Oh, great. We have a lost tool. You see it?
Yeah, we see it.
and in 2023, where an entire tool bag lost by Jasmine Mock-Belly was even tracked from the ground by amateur astronomers for weeks to come. Position number 4. This is one occasion where human error destroyed the careers of national heroes. The 3 astronauts of Apollo 15 secretly accepted a deal from a German stamp dealer to carry 400 stamped postal covers to the moon, the goal to sell them for a fortune once back on Earth. When NASA found out, it was pure chaos. Al Worden, David Scott and James Irwin, the crew that drove the lunar rover for the first time, among the best pilots and astronauts around, were literally put on trial. Dick Slayton, the chief astronaut, removed them from flight roles. Space heroes demoted to desk clerks, all because of 400 stamps. Position number 3. We're on the podium. Everyone knows the giant leap for mankind, but NASA kept this chilling detail hidden from us for a long time. Right after their moonwalk, Buzz Aldrin, moving inside the cramped lunar module with his bulky life support backpack on his shoulders, bumped into the control panel. He heard a sharp snap. He had broken off the engine arm circuit breaker, which is basically the button needed to fire the engine and go home. Without it, they would have died on the moon. The problem was reported to Houston, and they went to sleep. How do you even sleep with a problem like that? The panic lasted all night. Eventually, Aldrin himself found the solution. He took a felt tip pen he used for flight nose and jammed its non-conductive tip into the broken switch hole to make the electrical contact. A potentially fatal mistake saved by the most common object. And it worked. Position number 2. A post-Soviet Russian story. June 1997, the Russian space station Mir. The Progress cargo ship needs to dock. Normally, it would use Kurz, a super precise automatic radar system, but there was a political problem. Kurz was manufactured in Ukraine. After the fall of the Soviet Union, Ukraine started charging Russia for the system. Moscow, out of money, decided to cut costs. Do it manually was the message from Mission Control. They forced cosmonaut Vasily Tsibliev to remote pilot a 7-ton cargo ship using a joystick, relying on a blurry monitor. Tsibliev miscalculated the braking maneuver. The cargo crashes at full speed into a solar panel, tearing a hole in the station. Air starts rushing out. In absolute darkness and horror movie tension, the astronauts have to frantically slice through cables with a knife to close the hatch just 1 second before losing consciousness. Only by a miracle there were no injuries or casualties. The Mir was battered, but somehow managed to keep going, and all of this just to avoid paying to use the radar from Ukraine. Position number 1, the Apollo 10 blender. Apollo 10 in May 1969 was the dress rehearsal for the moon landing that would happen with Apollo 11. Tom Stafford and Gene Cernan are in the lunar module. They have simulated the landing approach right on script, but now they need to detach, use the computer to stabilize, and head back up toward the command module. Stafford correctly flips a switch to attitude hold. 3 seconds later, Cernan, reading his checklist and not knowing that Stafford had already set the switch, touches the switch one more time, accidentally putting it into auto, abort autopilot. You can hear Cernan screaming, while the images from the window spin wildly.
Get ready, stage. Gimbal lock. Doing things. God damn. Okay, let's...
The computer, confused, believes it needs to abort the mission and starts spinning the lunar module at an insane speed, searching for the command module with its radar. And the nightmare of every pilot of that era happens, known as gimbal lock. If the ship spins too much, the gyroscopes freeze and you lose your heading and direction. Stafford screams, hits the emergency staging buttons, and grabs the manual flight stick, riding the ship practically with brute force, and they regain control of the situation. NASA would later confirm they were exactly 2 seconds away from the permanent lock of the gyroscopes, a catastrophic event. Finger on the wrong button almost killed the crew and perhaps the entire Apollo program. So the next time you make a mistake at work, think about this. At least you didn't burn out a camera on worldwide TV or almost destroy a spaceship. Astronauts are extraordinary professionals, but these stories remind us that human factor is always the most unpredictable element in space exploration. Let me know if you agree with my ranking, consider leaving me a like and subscribing to the channel. Ciao!